speaking of ad blockers, this how do I kind of goes right along that.
All right, hit this.
You're the one that brought it to us, but I'll read it anyway. How do
Oh,
I
you finished
avoid
it.
legal
Okay.
scams?
My son, oldest son, Oakland, a couple of years ago now. It might even be 3 years ago. Um, he's had a few accidents in his driving thing. He's definitely chilled out after the last one. Um, I believe this particular one, I think it was the last one he had that this is going on with, and he basically did pull out in front of somebody, and he did kind of cut them off, kind of. It's mostly because he just didn't give it the juice. He it's a place we told him never to go there, to turn around, go the long way, because it's a horrible curve. It is, going home to work from work time. For whatever reason, he was out there, and he could have made it, apparently, because the way he got tagged on the very back driver's side, rear panel, right, quarter, whatever, side panel, and it's like, dude, all you had to do was just give it a little bit more go. You just had to go. Well, the people played my neck, my back, my lawyer BS. You can't play
Ooh.
that game on me. And um, I don't remember the full scenario, but there were definitely issues. But then, of course, he calls Erin, and she goes out there, and she's working with the cop or whatever, this and that, and the other, and that got squashed pretty quickly. No ambulances were called, all this stuff. But it was obviously, oh, we're gonna see. You know how I know it's obvious we're gonna try to see you? Because the insurance company, we learned of this, unfortunately, the hard way. But just because somebody pulls out in front of you doesn't mean they're 100% at fault. The police wrote it as there were no brake marks. They didn't try. And they had plenty of time. All they had to do was hit the brakes a little bit,
Oh.
and he
So
would have
they
made it.
were
They wouldn't
looking
have
for
made it.
someone to hit.
I think it was a moment of, oh, we're gonna hit this person, and we're gonna get paid. And
Yeah.
then they saw he was young, and they really doubled down on it. And they weren't going that fast because it didn't like hurt anybody. It didn't do that much damage to his car. So, and he was a target, right? So it didn't do that much damage to their car. And they, of course, raised the fuss. It's not, well, then our insurance company was like, yeah, no, we're investigating this. And even according to the police report, they didn't try to stop. You're apparently, as much as it frustrates me with all the people who take in this world, and I have thought about, I was like, one of these days, I'm just not going to break. And then I'm going to be in the right because you pulled out in front of me. Well, that day never came because, and we learned this was like, well, if you don't try to stop, you're also at fault, at least in Georgia. And uh, so they had to determine, what percentage who was at fault, and this and that and the other. And it drug out and it drug out and drug out. Well, the insurance company ended up writing these people almost a $50,000 check for whatever BS they pulled, because it wasn't
Oh.
their car. They probably did pain and suffering and some other crap, because they did not drive a $50,000 car. They were trash people. I can tell you that right now. And it doesn't matter. Here's where the advice comes in. So we did everything. We submitted everything. We're all this and that and the other. And now I don't think that just because an insurance company pays out, it takes any legal obligation away from the human being. Now, good luck suing. At the time he was 18, would have he just turned 20 this weekend. So he's 17 or 18. Even at 20, good luck suing. He ain't got nothing for you. Okay, you might garnish his wages for a while, but it's stupid. It was a dumb mistake. However, we got a call. Well, he got a call to his phone asking for his mom today. Is there there? We need to speak to her. It's weird. Here's the scam. Now, I can see the ins and outs of something. It's what I call it a legal scam. It's not like somebody calling and going. I think it's nationwide, but definitely in Georgia, we've been getting random texts saying, "Hey, you've got this toll on this fee for this not paying the toll on the toll road,
I've
and
been
you need to
getting
pay it now."
those texts a ton.
It's hilarious to me. It's hilarious to me because sometimes they come from a known phone number from outside the United States, like plus 22. Plus one, by the way, is United States, everybody. If you see a plus anything else from a phone number, it
Yeah,
is
the
not
country
United
code.
States. Right, the country code. Or it'll come from Boo got you at Hotmail. I mean, I don't know what the first part really is, but it really wasn't
Yeah, it
at
comes from an
Hotmail.
email. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's so ridiculously stupid. That's a stupid scam, right? However,
But you got to be careful because some of those Nigerian princes, they're real.
hey, we know one, sir. We know one.
We do.
Naru. Don't you? Maybe you don't know Naru. I don't think he's a prince, but he's from
Uh,
Nigeria.
I think I may have met him very, 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 very
Sure.
briefly.
I mean, that's
Okay.
fair. That's fair. He doesn't really get whatever's going on in his life. He hasn't really interacted at Dragon Con very much. So I see if he does show up for a day, I see him for like 5 minutes. We used to interact with him a lot on breaking the panel and those kind of things. Anyway, get a call today, and they're saying, I'll go ahead and out the insurance. They're saying they represent, or they're calling from the Alpha Insurance Group. That's ALFA, like the food, not Alpha, like I'm a alpha male. And
ALPHA.
yeah. And the first thing I did, yeah, after my wife told me I came home, she told me about it. I looked them up. The first 10 results are, well, the first result is so and so insurance agent for Alpha Insurance is indicted for scamming people out of life insurance and this, this, and this. And then the next 9 Google searches are this company sues them, this company sues them, this company sues them, this company sues them. Now, here's the other thing. So they're talking about this. So the woman gets on the phone with my wife. She goes, is this Aaron? She's like, yeah. She goes, what's your birthday? And she goes, okay, this is weird. And she gave her birthday. She said, all right, I need you to confirm the last 4 of your social. You're like, no. So here's how do I tip number one, everybody. Never give your social to anybody on the phone. And it is very, very rare. Like if you call and you know it's the bank, like you dealt with somebody directly, you better be really sure who you're talking to before you give out your phone number. I mean, your social security number. So it's like, no way in hell am I doing that. No. And then I think the girl pushed back and she's like, this is a scam. There's no way. So no, okay, what about your address? Well, our address is public record. All addresses are public record, right? Yeah,
Yep.
here's the address. So, okay, well, I've confirmed your info so I can talk to you about it. It's like, you call me. What are you talking about? Well, they said, well, um, you're being sued by this person and you just need to set up payment plans with us. And I wasn't hearing a conversation, just the story she's telling
Serve
me.
me the papers.
Thank you, Joe.
Serve me the
That's
papers.
the first thing I said. That is the first thing I said. She was, and my wife, she'll get panicky and sometimes he's emotional. She'll get very emotional, defensive. Didn't always think of those things, but she did. She did. And her kind of, she's like, yeah, I said, I was like, well, you can go to the court and look up, here's a reference number. She's like, no, you're saying you're suing me and you're wanting me to set up payments with you and you want me to go get the paperwork? No, this is a scam. You're full of crap. This, and she referenced the toll road tax and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, well, no, it's not a scam. It's just, and here's the law firm. Well, the thing is, even though they said they were calling from Alpha Insurance, the phone numbers listed, Purnam and Purnam, I think is the law firm out of Alabama. Both of these companies are out of Alabama. We all know about Alabama, right? Eat Tide Pods is what they're
Yeah.
really
I
saying.
mean, they've got a certain author named Bob Magoo there. I mean,
Look,
Alabama.
if Max Wizards is the best you knew of Alabama, try to sue me. Anyway, that was the thing. It's like everything they said was a big red flag. Set up payments like no. And so I was teaching Oakland, so I wanted to bring it tonight to teach those who may not have gone through it. Yes, he had an incident. Yes, we had to go through the insurance. Yes, he was found, I think 60%, 70% at fault. They were found the rest of the percent at fault. So the insurance company negotiated deals. Yeah, the insurance. So supposedly, he's being sued for $50,000. Which, please, I want to go to court on this. Let's go. Let's rock. Let's go. Um, my wife, we did get to the courthouse. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, nothing's like, well, so I was like, no. So I make sure, well, one, she didn't send him to do his own business, get to the court and pull it. And because she's afraid that he would get upset. Like, I fussed at her both, like, you got to stop that. He is 20 years old. He is not a baby. And if he's going to go to the courthouse and look up something, some record, and lose his crap, then maybe he deserves what he gets. And I told her that to him to his face. Because that's another thing. It's like, you've got to learn how to handle your business calmly. You might be raging inside. I've been there a bunch of times, but you have to handle it calmly. So yeah, Joe, you hit it. You didn't serve me. You're not actually suing me. I'm not doing crap until I do get papers. And even then, I'm going to tell you this from dealing with the legal system. The word you're looking for is judgment. And you don't get a judgment without getting clear. And we've been sued once before. We filed bankruptcy. And when you file a bankruptcy, you've done some dumb things financially. And before that bankruptcy takes effect, we got a lawsuit from a credit card company. Fair enough, right? So sorry. Stuff happened in our lives. Honestly, I wish I could pay it back. That's another story. Two sheriff's department sheriffs showed up at the door to serve. Oh, apparently I got balloons when I held up two fingers. There we go. I don't know what that's all about. Uh, but you know what I'm saying? Official sheriff's department. Are
To serve you
you
the papers.
exactly? Are
Yeah.
you? You see it on TV all the time. I was like, hey, did you order Chinese? Are you Joe Art? Yes, I am. Hey, you've been served, right? You divorce papers is a lawsuit. Me versus you is a lawsuit. You have to be served officially by
In person.
somebody in person by somebody legally allowed to do that. That when I say legally allowed, meaning that is their job. And when they say they write down, I served them at this time, at this date, that carries weight, right? It
Yep.
can be a process server. It doesn't have to be police officers, but a lot of time in rural areas, it's police officers. So she already knew that we weren't served. So she was good there. So she kept her stuff together. But they're like, you guys set up papers. No, let me tell you this too. Unfortunately, I got a lot of stories about court. Some are mine and some are not mine. So I can't tell all the stories Joe wants me to tell on the show. But when you get some and you get served, you get told the date, the clear everything. You have stuff you can take to a lawyer or come represent yourself. You go to court on that day. You plead your case with whatever evidence you can bring to the table. And then the judge rules his or her judgment. Guilty, not guilty, responsible. I find that you're responsible for this, whatever. If let's say Oakland was found responsible for $50,000 damage, it happened to be an exact check that they got. They got like 49,000 and some change. And Aaron, of course, did call the insurance company today and went, hey, what gives? What is this crap? And like, no, we have on record at this date, this time we sent them, they haven't cashed a check, but we negotiated everything. We've signed the paperwork. It's done. They've got the check. So just because you don't cash it doesn't mean we're responsible either. That you went through that process, it's done. So then the argument becomes, why is it double? You get now we can put it back on them. You got to prove why is it 100,000? You got to check for 50 grand. Why are you trying to go after a teenager who has nothing? You know, plead your case in court. Let's say we lose. That's worst case scenario, right?
I mean, he
Judge says,
literally lives in a shack out back.
yeah, he lives in a
Not
shack
by
down by
choice.
the river. Yeah. So the judgment of that judge, right? That's what it is, a judgment against you. So if he lost, he'd have a judgment against him to pay back X amount of money over X amount, because they got to take in your living arrangements, they got to take in your ability to earn income, those kind of things. And he'll say, okay, and then you set up a plan through the courts. You pay the court, and the court pays the person. I have seen it on the employer side so many times with child support and everything else. That person who owes child support is not paying the other person directly. They pay the court plus fees for the court to handle this process. And then the court issues the check to the person. Depending on the situation, I'm sure there are child support fees. When it's an amicable, or when you're a decent human being, you can just write checks. But if you have a judgment against you, it goes because the court wants to make sure and prove that you did it. Period. In the story. So the scam was, I said, okay, I'm theorizing here. I don't know if this is legal or not, but it could possibly be illegal to say, yes, we'll take the insurance check and we'll take that settlement. That's legal, but it might be illegal to then sue the person because you took the settlement. So because they haven't sued us, they just did a scare tactic scam call. Oh, you got to set up payments. Yes, it's a real incident. Yes, it happened. But we're not stupid. And we're not setting up payments to an insurance company, by the way. not a lawyer's firm, not
Yeah.
a courthouse, not even to that person's bank, to an insurance company somehow. Red flags, people. You got to listen to these things. And I was proud of my wife because she's still anxious about it. But she started saying at the end that everything that came out of that woman's mouth, she kept saying, "But you got to do this to a scam.
Well,
But you got to do this
and
scam." And then she
one
hung up.
of one of the best ways to stop this is be it would be like, I want a callback number. Give me a callback number, and then you can search that callback number.
This is true.
And if it doesn't match, especially if it doesn't match who they claim to be, because you can also just, so they give you the callback number, you take down who they're from, then you just call their corporate office and see if they know anything about what's going on.
Sure. Now, yeah, I get you. The reason I personally resist that is because of the legal aspects of it. Like you said, the very first thing you said was right. Serve me with the papers.
Well,
So,
yeah, but just
Cross,
scams in general, not legal scams. Yes, serve me the papers, but just scams in general. Get a callback number and verify that that's a legitimate callback number. And
sure.
if you can't find that, just call the entity that they're claiming to be and see if they know anything about it.
It's Alabama. I bet brother and sister sitting right next to each other. I don't know. I'm being mean to Alabama. Uh, I don't know if we have any fans of Alabama. If we do,
We
call your
do. His
dad.
name's Bob Magoo.
wiseandnerdy.com. He doesn't listen to the show. Call your dads. wiseandnerdy.com/call dad. But so the last part of this story is, and you're right on there with me, and I'm glad you're doing it. But we have to teach your kids. So I made sure Oakland heard all that. I said, and apparently when he handed off the phone, he went out to his shed, and I was like, no, you should have sat right here next to her with the phone on speaker, and so you could learn how this is going on and what's happening here. Um, Crosby, she sent our sick daughter out instead of just anyway. It was a little mishandled today, but Crosby went down and pulled, typed in whatever into the court kiosk that you can access things on, and it does have some kind of BS case number, right? It does say Alpha Insurance. It does list him as a plan. That's it. And it's like $200. And we're like, I don't know what this is. And literally no details. So I'm thinking it is a scam because it's not illegal. It is 100% not illegal for somebody to say, give me some money, set up payments. And if you go, okay, and you set up payments, you agreed to that. That's not illegal. It's scammy. It's hoodwinky. I got caught in that trying to be a good person when I filed my first bankruptcy. And what our bankruptcy lawyer says we'd have to, of course, pay the mortgage. We wanted to keep our house at the time. So we're trying to be good people and keep our house. So we had to do the mortgage when there was a second mortgage on it, which because that was part of our stupidity being young. And our lawyer was an idiot, didn't communicate very well to us. So they didn't communicate that we didn't have to pay that second mortgage at all. We called SunTrust, was what it was called at the time, and said, hey, we're trying to pay this. And they were all confused, but they didn't want to say no. They finally found somebody who figured out that we were being dumb as good people going, we think we owe you this money. We're trying to pay this money. They took $8,000 of our money voluntarily because we gave it to them. There's nothing illegal about that.
Yep.
We didn't have to owe it. That part got put into bankruptcy, but it wasn't communicated to us, and we didn't pay it. It's on us. It is on you to take care of yourself. It is on me to make sure I'm doing everything and understand everything legally right. So it makes me happy, but also kind of irritated. It's like, what? What? You think I'm stupid? You think I'm just gonna go, oh yes, yeah. Yes, Bob Magoo, here's your money.
Oh, Bobby.
So Joe, coming in, how would you? I know we got 2 more seconds. We probably need to do a commercial break next. But basically, when do you think you would start teaching your kids some of those principles of what to listen for, how to one be responsible for what you're responsible for, but two, know when you don't have to go across that line, even though you feel guilty about it. You don't owe them anything.
Yeah, I'd probably try to find, as far as when, um, Probably when they're teenagers. Um, I don't see a real need unless it came up in your personal life. I don't really see a need for them to worry about it before that, not overly anyway. Um, but yeah, teenagers. But the way I'd go about it is I'd probably try to find one of the YouTube video that if someone's sharing their story of what happened to them, and that way we could we could watch it. It's entertaining to a certain degree, and we could talk about what we would do in that scenario.
That's smart. That's good. Um, I have tried to teach my children the ways of the church and abstinence and those kind of things, but I've always said, as much as I hate it, if you knock somebody out, we're going to get a pregnancy test. Not a
The
pregnancy,
biggest legal scam there is, tale
a
as old
T-
as time,
yeah, tell us all this
pregnancy.
time.